You are not here by accident. The energy within you has been calling for this moment. What feels like confusion or chaos is the beginning of your awakening. The rising of Kundalini, the sacred force that has long been kept hidden and out of sight, waiting for you to remember who you are. This audiobook will guide you through that awakening. It will show you how to move through the intensity, how to channel your power, and how to become the higher version of yourself that your soul has been preparing you for. You were chosen for this. You're ready now. Before we begin, share in the comments where you're listening from and one thing you're hoping to release or awaken through this experience. It's powerful to see people all over the world rising together in this same transformation. You can simply listen and let the energy of these words move through you, or read along with the text on screen for a more focused, connected journey. Let's begin. The awakening starts now. There is a power sleeping in the basement of a man's being. It is a forgotten force, a coiled spring of infinite potential. Most people live their entire lives in the rooms above, decorating the surface, unaware that just beneath their feet lies the source of all the energy, creativity, and life they have ever sought. They spend their days seeking external stimulants, cups of coffee, motivational quotes, new hobbies, anything to inject a fleeting sense of aliveness into their weary bones. They are trying to light a lamp by repeatedly painting the bulb with gold, never realizing the house is wired for electricity and the switch is within their reach. This is not a metaphor. This is a physiological and spiritual reality. The ancients called it Kundalini. You can call it your untapped potential, your vital life force, your silent dynamo. The name does not matter. What matters is that you, the reader, understand this one fundamental truth. You are not tired. You are unplugged. You are not uninspired. You are disconnected from the very source of your inspiration. The feeling of being drained, of running on empty, is not the default state of a human being. It is the symptom of a life lived in separation from its own core. Think of the last time you felt truly alive, not just awake, but vibrantly, electrically alive. Perhaps it was in a moment of triumph, or in nature, or in a sudden flash of creative insight where time seemed to stop and everything flowed through you. In that moment, you tapped into this current. It was a fleeting glimpse of what is possible. But what if you could live from that place? What if you could access that energy not by chance, but by choice? This is the promise of this book. It is not about adding something new to you. It is about uncovering what has always been there. It is about learning the shortcut to awakening the giant that sleeps within you, so you may command an instant and endless supply of energy for the life you are destined to live. The journey we are about to take is a personal one. It is a path walked not with the feet, but with awareness. And it begins with a single, deliberate decision to stop seeking light from outside, and to instead flip the switch within. This book is that switch. It is a guide to bypassing years of struggle and confusion to connect directly with the wellspring of your power. The shortcut is not about effort, but about alignment. It is not about doing more, but about becoming what you already are. Prepare yourself to see your own capacity in a new light. Prepare to understand that the ceiling you have been living under is an illusion, and the true sky above it is vast and limitless. Chapter 1. The Lie of Low Energy and the Truth of Your Inner Power. You have been sold a lie. You have been told that your energy is finite, that it depletes with age, that it is dictated by your sleep, your diet, your circumstances, and so you, like millions, have accepted the slow dimming of your own light as an inevitable fact of life. You have been conditioned to believe in the economy of scarcity when it comes to your own vital force. But what if everything you believed about your own vitality was wrong? What if the very framework of your thinking about energy has been constructed by a world that benefits from you feeling tired, limited, and in need of external solutions? Let me speak to you directly. The feeling you have at 3 p.m., that dragging lethargy, is not a biological mandate. It is a signal. It is your body's way of telling you that you are running on a backup battery because you have lost connection to the main grid. The man who believes he is tired becomes tired. The woman who accepts fatigue as her lot in life will never know the roaring river of force that is her true inheritance. This very day, you have a choice. You can continue to accept the narrative of depletion, or you can choose to discover the truth. The truth is that you are a conductor of a universal energy. Your very being is designed to channel it, to express it, to radiate it.
The problem is not a lack of energy. The problem is a blockage in the conduit. And this book is your guide to clearing it. Consider for a moment the sun. Does the sun ever get tired of shining? Does it deplete its energy when it gives light to the solar system? It does not, because it is not creating light from a finite source. It is being light, expressing its inherent nature from an endless nuclear furnace. In the same way, your true self is not a reservoir that empties,
but a channel that is meant to flow. The fatigue you feel is the friction of a life lived against this current. It is the resistance you create when you identify with the mind's chatter, the body's complaints, and the world's demands, instead of tapping into the silent, unwavering power beneath it all. You must see this clearly. The belief in low energy is a trap. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy that keeps you small, manageable, and seeking. The moment you truly internalize that your source is infinite, the entire game changes. You stop conserving and start expressing. You stop worrying about burning out and begin trusting that you are plugged into a source that cannot be depleted. This is the first and most critical step on the shortcut. It is a fundamental rewiring of your core belief about who you are and what you are capable of. From this new perspective, every technique that follows will not be about creating energy, but about allowing it. It will be about removing the dam so the river can flow freely. Chapter 2. Kundalini Demystified. Your biological birthright to supreme power. The word Kundalini can seem mysterious, esoteric, even intimidating. It has been shrouded in complex yoga texts and mystical jargon, making it seem accessible only to ascetics on mountaintops. This could not be further from the truth. Kundalini is not a myth. It is your mechanism. It is the evolutionary engine built into the very core of your nervous system. To think of it as anything other than your biological birthright is to deny yourself the key to your own kingdom. Think of it not as a serpent, but as a dormant cable. It lies at the base of your spine, and it connects you to the infinite power supply of the universe itself. When this cable is activated, it does not create something new. It simply completes a circuit that has always been there, waiting for you to close the loop. This is your biological birthright. It is as much a part of you as your capacity to breathe or to think. You would not let someone convince you that you are not allowed to take a deep breath, so why would you let anyone, or any belief, convince you that this supreme power is out of your reach? The shortcut begins with this simple, profound understanding. This energy is already yours. You are not a beggar seeking a crumb of energy. You are a king who has forgotten a combination to his own vault. Now, let us talk about what this energy actually is. In practical terms, Kundalini energy is the primal intelligence of life itself. It is the same force that turns a single cell into a complex human being in the womb. It is the force that heals your wounds, that digests your food, that pumps your heart without your conscious command. This intelligence is not passive. It is a dynamic, creative, and powerful current. In its dormant state, it runs the basic functions of your biology. In its awakened state, it becomes available to your consciousness. It supercharges your entire system. It illuminates your mind, vitalizes your body, and opens your heart. It is the difference between a house that has electricity only for the refrigerator and a few lights, and a house where every room is brilliantly lit, all the appliances are humming, and the entire structure is vibrant with power. This is not a fantasy. This is the documented experience of countless individuals throughout history, though often described in flowery language that obscures the simple mechanics. The goal here is to strip away the mystery and reveal the mechanics. You have a spine, a central nervous system, and energy centers often called chakras. These are not magical concepts. They are metaphors for very real aspects of your neurological and endocrine makeup. Awakening Kundalini is the process of consciously directing this primal life force through this system, clearing out the accumulated static of a lifetime, the stress, the trauma, the limiting beliefs, so that your entire being can operate at its highest possible voltage. Chapter 3. The first key. The breath that unlocks the circuit. If there is one single, most powerful, most immediate shortcut on this journey, it is the one you are using at this very moment. Your breath. Most people believe breathing is an involuntary act, something that just happens to keep them alive. But for the man or woman seeking to awaken their dormant power, the breath is the master key. It is the voluntary bridge between your conscious will and your autonomic nervous system. It is the direct dial to your inner power plant. Right now, as you read this, bring your attention to your breathing. Do not change it yet. Just observe it. Is it shallow, high in the chest? Is it uneven? This is how most people breathe, just enough to survive. This is the breath of a person running on that backup battery. The breath of awakening is different. It is conscious, deep, and rhythmic. It is the breath that unplugs you from the chaos of the external world and plugs you directly into the stillness and power within. Let me guide you through this first, fundamental key. Sit comfortably and close your eyes if you can. Place one hand on your belly. Now, I want you to inhale slowly and deeply, but not into your chest. I want you to breathe into your hand. Feel your belly expand like a balloon. Let the lower part of your lungs fill first, then the middle, then finally allow the upper chest to rise. This is a complete diaphragmatic breath. Now, exhale slowly, releasing the breath from the top down, letting the chest fall, then the ribs, and finally drawing the navel back towards the spine to empty the lungs completely. This single breath, done with full awareness, is more powerful than a dozen cups of coffee. Why? Because it does not stimulate you. It charges you. It directly influences the vagus nerve, the command center of your parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for rest, repair, and regeneration. It sends a direct signal to your entire body that it is safe to power down the stress responses and power up the healing, energizing currents. This specific type of breathing begins to stir the dormant energy at the base of your spine. Imagine your breath as a gentle internal tide, washing up and down the central channel of your body. With each inhale, you are drawing that primal energy upward. With each exhale, you are grounding and circulating it. This is not strenuous work. It is allowing. It is inviting. You are not forcing a river to flow. You are simply removing the rocks so it can follow its natural course. Practice this now, for just 5 breaths. Inhale deeply into the belly, expanding. Exhale fully, releasing. With each cycle, feel a sense of calm power building within you. This is the first and most essential practice. This is where the shortcut truly begins. Master this breath, and you hold the key to the kingdom. Chapter 4. The second key. The posture of power and receptive alignment. Your body is not merely a vehicle for your head. It is the antenna through which you receive the signals of the universe. It is the physical architecture of your consciousness. And just as a radio cannot pick up a clear signal if its internal components are bent and misaligned, you cannot receive the full current of your innate energy if your body is slumped, compressed, and closed off. The second key on this shortcut is therefore a matter of structural integrity. It is about creating the posture of power. This has nothing to do with rigid military bearing or forcing yourself into uncomfortable yoga poses. It has everything to do with creating a state of receptive alignment. Look around you at people walking down the street. See how their heads are thrust forward, peering at phones, their shoulders rounded, their spines curved into a question mark. This is the posture of burden. This is the posture of a person carrying the weight of the world, a person whose energy flow is pinched and blocked at the very gateway of their being, the neck and shoulders. Now, I want you to become aware of your own posture as you read this. Is your head balanced gracefully on top of your spine, or is it jutting forward? Are your shoulders relaxed and back, allowing your chest to be open, or are they hunched up around your ears? The simple act of correcting this is a profound energetic intervention. Sit up straight. Feel the crown of your head gently reaching toward the ceiling. Let your shoulders drop down and back, as if you were showing a badge on your chest. Tuck your chin slightly, not in a gesture of submission, but to bring your head into a direct, stacked line with the rest of your spine. This simple adjustment does something remarkable. It opens the central channel of your body. It removes the physical kinks that impede the flow of energy. It tells your nervous system that you are in a state of confidence, readiness, and power. This is not just psychology. It is physics. A straight wire conducts electricity more efficiently than a coiled one. Your spine is that wire. When you sit and stand in this aligned way, you are doing the physical equivalent of upgrading your household wiring from old, frayed copper to high-grade, superconductive material. The energy you begin to generate and draw in through your breath now has a clear, unimpeded path to travel. It can rise from its dormant seat at the base of the spine, travel up the central channel, and illuminate your entire being without getting stuck in the physical knots of poor posture. This is the posture of reception. It is the posture of a king on his throne, receptive to the needs of his kingdom, yet utterly grounded in his own authority. It is the posture of a sage, open to the wisdom of the ages. Assume this posture now. Breathe into it. Feel the difference. This is the second key. This is how you build the temple, worthy of the power that wants to flow through it. Chapter 5. The third key. The mind as a silent conduit. Not a noisy master. The greatest obstacle on this path is not your body, nor your circumstances. It is the ceaseless, chaotic, and undisciplined chatter of your own mind. The ordinary man is a slave to his thoughts. He believes he is his thoughts. He is tossed about on a stormy sea of mental noise, regrets about the past, anxieties about the future, judgments about the present. This internal noise is like a thick layer of static on a radio frequency. It completely obscures the clear, powerful signal of your inner dynamo. The third key, therefore, is to transform your relationship with your mind. The goal is not to stop thinking, which is an impossible task, but to silence the identification with the thinker. You must learn to see your mind not as the master of your house, but as a useful tool, a servant. And like any good servant, it should be quiet until called upon. Right now, your mind is probably commenting on this very sentence. It is agreeing, disagreeing, or wandering off on a tangent. This is its nature. But you have the power to observe this process. That ability to observe your own thoughts is the crack in the door of your prison. It is the first glimpse of your true self, which is not the thought, but the awareness behind the thought. This is the most critical shift on the entire journey. The moment you can consistently place your identity in the silent, observing awareness, rather than in the noisy content of the mind, the Kundalini energy has a clear pathway to ascend. The static dissolves, and the signal comes in loud and clear. How do you achieve this? Through a simple, profound practice of witnessing. I want you to set aside 5 minutes today. Sit in your posture of power. Breathe your deep, diaphragmatic breaths. And now, simply watch your thoughts. Do not try to change them. Do not follow them. Do not judge them. Imagine yourself sitting on the bank of a river, and your thoughts are leaves floating by on the current. You do not jump in the river to chase a leaf. You simply watch it come, and you watch it go. When you inevitably get caught up in a thought and find yourself miles down the river in your imagination, gently, without self-criticism, bring your attention back to the breath and back to the image of the riverbank. This is the practice. This is the repattering. Every time you bring your attention back without judgment, you are strengthening the muscle of your awareness. You are telling the mind, you are not in charge, I am. This creates a profound inner silence. And in that silence, something magical happens. The Kundalini energy, which is repelled by chaos and noise, is attracted to stillness and order. It begins to rise naturally, effortlessly, because the main obstacle, your identified mind, has been pacified. This is the shortcut through the jungle of your own psyche. This is how you become the master of your inner world, and in doing so, gain mastery over your entire life. Chapter 6. The fusion, weaving breath, posture, and silence into a single thread. Knowing the keys is one thing. Wielding them in unison is where the magic truly happens. Separately, conscious breathing, power posture, and mental silence are beneficial practices. Fused together, they become a single, devastatingly effective technology for instant energy and awakening. This fusion is the heart of the shortcut. It is the process of weaving these three separate threads into an unbreakable cord that can pull you directly into the experience of your own power. Most people practice things in isolation. They might meditate for 20 minutes, then slump at their desk for the next 8 hours. They might do a breathing exercise, then immediately drown it out with a torrent of anxious thoughts. This is like trying to drive a car by only using the gas, the brake, or the steering wheel at different times. You will not get far, and the ride will be chaotic and inefficient. The master learns to use all controls simultaneously, seamlessly, and the car glides effortlessly toward its destination. Let me show you how this fusion works in a practical, daily way. You do not need a special room or an hour of free time. The moment you feel that familiar afternoon slump, or a wave of anxiety, or a dip in your focus, that is your cue. That is the moment to apply the fusion. First, you adjust your posture. Wherever you are, at your desk, in your car, standing in line, you create that receptive alignment. Crown up, shoulders back and down, spine long. This is the physical foundation. Second, you shift your breath. You take 3 to 5 of those deep, diaphragmatic, complete breaths. You ignore the mind's protest that you are too busy for this. You breathe into the belly, filling and emptying the lungs completely. This is the energetic charge. Third, and simultaneously, you bring in the witness. As you breathe and hold your posture, you observe the sensations in your body. You observe the urge to slump or to return to shallow breathing. You observe the thoughts that say this is silly or ineffective. You do not engage them. You simply watch them from the riverbank. All the while maintaining the breath and the posture, this trio, held together for even just 60 seconds, creates a catalytic reaction. The body's structure is open. The breath is pumping life force into the system. The mind is silent, allowing the energy to flow without resistance. In this state, you have created the perfect internal environment for the Kundalini to stir. It is no longer a theory. It is a physical sensation. You may feel a wave of warmth, a gentle tingling up the spine, a deep sense of calm certainty, or a sudden surge of vitality that washes away the fatigue. This is the shortcut in action. This is you, taking direct, conscious control of your own energy state. Practice this fusion multiple times a day. Make it your default response to any feeling of disconnection or depletion. You are not waiting for energy to come to you. You are generating it on demand, from the inside out. Chapter 7. Navigating the Current. Sensations, Signs, and the Art of Surrender. As you begin to consistently apply this fusion, something will start to happen. The dormant energy will begin to move. And like any powerful force of nature, its movement will be felt. It is crucial that you understand what is happening, so you can navigate these new waters with confidence and grace, not with fear and confusion. The awakening of this energy is a deeply personal and unique experience, but there are common sensations that many report. You may feel waves of heat or cold, often moving up the spine. You may experience spontaneous muscle twitches or jerks, as deep-seated tensions are released from the nervous system. You may see lights behind your closed eyelids, or hear internal sounds like a gentle rushing wind or a high-pitched bell. There may be periods of profound emotional release, unexpected tears or laughter, as old stored energy is purged from your system. The most important thing to understand, and I will speak to you directly now, is this. Do not be afraid. This is not something going wrong. It is something going right. Your system is purging, rewiring, and upgrading itself. The energy is intelligent. It knows what it is doing. Your only job is to surrender to the process. The art of surrender is the most advanced skill on this path. It is not passive resignation. It is active trust. It is the decision to let go of the steering wheel and trust that the car knows the way home. When a strange sensation arises, Instead of clamping down with fear and mental analysis, you simply breathe into it. You observe it with the witness mind. You say, "Ah, this is interesting. This is energy moving." And you allow it to be, to move, to express itself. Resistance is what creates pain and problem. If you feel a surge of energy that feels intense, and you contract with fear, you create a blockage. That same energy, when met with openness and breath, will simply move through, leaving you feeling clearer and more vibrant on the other side. Think of yourself as a surfer. You cannot control the ocean wave, but you can learn to ride it. The sensations are the waves. Your practice of breath, posture, and silent awareness is your surfboard. Your surrender is your balance. Trust the wave, trust your board, and most of all, trust the surfer that you are. This journey is about remembering that you are far more resilient, intelligent, and powerful than you have been led to believe. Navigating these currents is the proof. It is your own system showing you that it is alive, intelligent, and magnificently powerful. Chapter 8. From Practice to Presence. Living as the Dynamo. There comes a point on this journey where the practice ends and the presence begins. The techniques, the breath, the posture, the witnessing were never the destination. They were the keys used to start the engine. But once the engine is running, you do not need to keep cranking the ignition. You simply put the car in gear and drive. This is the transition from doing to being. It is a shift from practicing having energy to simply being energy. This is the ultimate goal of the shortcut, to make the awakened state your default state. How do you know you are approaching this point? The signs are subtle but profound. You will notice that you no longer wait for a dip in energy to practice the fusion. Instead, you move through your day in a continuous, low-grade state of awareness. Your posture naturally remains aligned because it feels better that way. Your breath naturally stays deep and calm because shallow breathing now feels uncomfortable. Your mind retains a background of stillness even while engaged in activity, because the chaotic noise is no longer your home. You become the silent dynamo in action. You will find that your need for external validation drops away. You are no longer looking to the world to tell you who you are or how you should feel. You are generating your own reality from the inside out. Challenges that would have previously derailed you are now met with a deep, unwavering calm. Solutions arise spontaneously from the well of your own intuition. Creativity flows without force. This is not a state of arrogant invulnerability. It is a state of grounded, unshakable power. It is the understanding that you are the source, and therefore nothing can truly be taken from you. In this state, life becomes not a problem to be solved, but an experience to be lived. Your work becomes an expression of your energy. Your relationships become a sharing of your abundance. Every moment becomes an opportunity to either radiate this power or to deepen your connection to it. This is your new life. This is what it means to live as the dynamo. You are no longer seeking the path. You have become the path. You are no longer trying to find the light. You have realized that you are the light. And from this place, everything is possible. Chapter 9. The Ripple Effect. How your awakening transforms your world. An extraordinary thing happens when a single individual awakens to their own true power. It does not just change their internal world. It sends ripples out into their entire reality. Your relationships, your work, your health, and your very perception of the world are all transformed by the current now flowing through you. This is not something you have to force or manipulate. It is a natural law. A lighted candle cannot help but illuminate the room around it. Consider your relationships. When you are no longer operating from a place of neediness and depletion, you stop draining the people around you. You stop looking to them to provide you with energy, validation, or happiness. Because you are full, you can relate from a place of overflow. Your conversations become more authentic. Your love becomes more unconditional. You become a source of stability and inspiration, not a source of drama and demand. People may not understand what has changed about you, but they will feel it. They will be drawn to your calm, your confidence, your vitality. Your presence alone will become a healing force. Now, consider your work. The man who is connected to an endless source of energy does not suffer from burnout. He works with focus and flow, but he is not identified with the outcome. His work becomes a channel for his creativity, a game to be played with excellence, not a burdensome struggle for survival. Ideas come more easily. Productivity becomes effortless. He sees opportunities where others see obstacles. He is the calm in the center of the corporate storm, and because of this, he naturally rises to positions of leadership and influence. Look at your health. The body is a direct reflection of the energy flowing through it. Blocked, stagnant energy manifests as disease and discomfort. A clear, flowing, vibrant energy manifests as vitality, strength, and resilience. As you clear the central channel, your body's innate intelligence is empowered to do its job of healing and maintaining perfect balance. You will find your sleep becomes deeper, your digestion improves, and your body simply feels more alive and integrated. This ripple effect is your gift to the world. By undertaking this journey for yourself, you are, perhaps without realizing it, undertaking it for everyone you touch. You become a living example of what is possible. You give others permission to seek their own power. Your awakening is a quiet revolution. It starts within you and expands to touch every corner of your life. This is the final proof that the shortcut was not a selfish pursuit. It was the most generous thing you could have ever done. Chapter 10. The Journey Never Ends. Your Eternal Partnership with Power. This is not a conclusion, for there is no end to this journey. What you have begun is an eternal partnership with the most powerful force in the universe, the force of your own true self. The silent dynamo does not get switched off. It only learns to hum more efficiently, to generate more light, to power a grander vision. You have learned the shortcut, but the destination is ever expanding. The man or woman who has tasted this power knows that the search is over. The seeking that defined the first part of their life has now been replaced by a deepening. There are always new layers of stillness to discover, new dimensions of energy to explore, new ways to express this creativity in the world. The practices in this book are your lifelong companions. They are not chores, but joys. They are the tuning of your instrument. The day you stop breathing consciously is the day you allow static to creep back in. The day you forget your posture is the day you start to close the antenna. The day you identify with your thoughts is the day you put the master back in charge of the house. But now you know the way back. You have the map. The path is etched into your very being. So, move forward from this moment with the quiet confidence of one who knows the secret. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are not a slave to your biology. You are not a passive recipient of the energy the world decides to give you. You are a generator. You are a conductor. You are the silent dynamo. Go now and live like it. Let your life be your practice and your presence be your proof. The world is waiting for the light. You now know how to switch on.